Assalamu alaikum, Ijaz.
Salam to Phil. How are you doing today?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah.
That's good.
So we got an interesting topic today. Talking about all things legit, authentic, original.
I think before we even get that far, Temu has been quite the...
I think we should spend some time
Yeah.
speaking about Temu. How is it pronounced? Temu?
I don't know. They always say
Well,
it
however
differently.
it's pronounced, it's like unavoidable. You open any Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is, and you like bombarded with adverts from Temu, and it just feels a bit much. And I think it starts to work after a while. You're like, maybe I should get that soccer pitch mat for my lounge. You know, like, I don't know what's their whole aim. Is it to just force you into making that purchase, or what do you think? I know they've got a multi-billion rand marketing campaign going globally, and I think it's working out for them.
Yeah, and I mean, even the searches. So like searching for some stuff on Google, and usually a way to see what's in Google Shop. So it gives you like sort of stores near you and whatever else.
Mhm.
And so many of the products, there's always these options for Temu, however it's said.
Let's just say Temu for now.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm the type of person that I want to like see things, whole things sort of before deciding on a purchase. With certain objects, I don't really shop a lot online. I don't even have a Takealot account. I have a proxy for that. My wife might Takealot proxy if I need anything.
Yeah.
Seeing that that's all you've gotta do the online things. But yeah, it's been like everywhere, every reel, every second post. And like odd stuff, man. Like, I don't know how their marketing algorithms are designed, but like the product categories
face.
are wild also. Like, you know, it may not appeal to you. It may not be part of your interest. And then all of a sudden you just see it there.
So I feel it's like fishing. They're just casting rods one way and hoping somewhere along the line they're gonna, catch something.
I think it has taken off. I've heard of a few people that have ordered from them, got
Yeah.
stuff for free.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, from Temu.
Okay.
We were testing it out. Someone at work wanted to make an order. Let's see if it works. Anyone wants some? And I was like, okay, this shoe keeps showing up on my feed
Yeah.
from Temu. Let me just finally get it. So it worked. It came eventually. Very
Okay.
delayed though, but it actually arrived.
Came off the boat eventually. I know I haven't personally ordered anything from theirs yet. But I mean, Temu, Shein, all of them. I think conceptually it's a good like sort of parallel to purchasing expensive stuff.
Mhm.
At a more affordable cost kind of thing. You just gotta have to wait for it kind of thing. But I mean, there's also a much larger product range perhaps than local vendors may have, because not everybody imports everything. It's too costly nowadays. So if you want one particular item, you can now use these services to get whatever someone doesn't necessarily have here or doesn't have here cheaply enough available. So it provides a good alternative. I just wish it wouldn't be so spammy though.
And recently there's been some controversy with Temu in terms of child labor and all of these things. Does that deter people from purchasing, or they like, what I don't know doesn't harm me kind of thing?
I think it's difficult because you're going to have a hard time believing that they're probably not the only manufacturers. I don't know if they manufacture themselves, if they wholesale purchase from other, sort of like Alibaba kind of thing. They get from other vendors and they just the portal or vendors which resell kind of thing. There's a lot of manufacturers that do that. Some big names have been, campaigned against for it, especially when it comes to clothing, because the textile hub and the cheaper textile hub obviously exists in those countries where it's seen as still a normal thing to kind of do. I don't know if it's going to deter people per se. Maybe not. There've been, worse things that hasn't deterred people from purchasing certain items. I think it just comes down to, but is it going to stop? Is it going to make a difference if I stop buying from them kind of thing? Like,
But what's the end game or the game plan here? To just like completely fill the world with adverts of Timo and hope that people all over would just, break that resistance to actually buy something.
I don't know, maybe. I think everybody wants their store or their company to hit global levels. And if they've marketed it accordingly and they spent a lot on marketing, which begs the question that perhaps some of the other expenses, are less than high.
Advertise.
Yeah. So they can sort of divert their resources there. If it's a model that works for them and they want, global sale, build global relationships in that way, it's reasonably effective so far. Because they've even got like affiliate marketers now. If you've seen on some of the reels, it's influencers and other people that are now affiliately marketing certain products that the link goes back to Timo, obviously, to purchase that particular product. So they have infiltrated that global market. It's no longer just their ads in the warehouse where the boss is coming in and burning the things.
Those are early
nobody's
ones, right?
believing, and then the prices are dubbed based on the locale that you're in, kind of thing. So they've broken away from that. They've got some cool ideas. Some of the reels were some of the ads were quite funny to watch or interesting to watch.
I seen a camera very close to the model that you have here, and it had a price tag of 19 Rand next to it. I'm like, okay, can I have 5 of those, please?
So here's the irony. I did some research into some of those models because I was looking for a couple of travel cams. Not that particular one at 19 Rand, but similar knockoff Canons. So I needed to buy like a lot of them. And pathetic. When I say the performance on those videos comes out worse than CCTV footage.
Don't you?
Yeah. And they're selling them for like, I think locally they sell them for like 2.5 grand. Internationally, you can get them much cheaper, under $100. I think like $70, $60 or so to bring them in. Mm-hmm. And that's as much as I can say for paying, far less for something that's obviously worth a lot more or fetches a much higher value. I wouldn't say it's always a good thing to do, but there's reasons people buy cheaps, don't they?
Yeah, I think it boils down to your economic situation. If people aren't able to buy the actual product that they actually wanted to get, and this comes in at a more affordable rate, they'll go with it, even though it's not going to last long, or might not even have the quality, as you said. But I think it just suits the pocket at that moment.
I don't know if I agree with that, actually, come to think of it. So it's like, we understand that let's go into the knockoffs thing. Like, I mean, knockoffs, not just when it comes to electronics or when it comes to, goods that can be built for cheaper. Because, I mean, like, let's take a kettle. A Smeg kettle, for example, is priced quite high. Whereas you go into, like, your normal supermarkets, you'll find a cheaper locally made one or a cheaper imported one for like $100. Why must you spend a couple of $1,000 on a kettle? It's still kettling,
boiling water,
kettling. Where the line sort of gets swayed from economic decisions versus wannabeism, emulationary actions, right? I think when it comes to clothing, when it comes to sort of accessories, maybe watches, sunglasses, that sort of thing, I think that's where the line is. Because you don't have to have a Louis Vuitton t-shirt, for example, right? If you can't afford one, or you don't want to spend on the prices that they are, you can be okay with MR Prisse or AC Commons. You don't gotta. None's like that. That doesn't. It's not an economic decision. If it is, it's the wrong one. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, but it's difficult for a person who maybe wants to follow trends and be with the in crowd or whatever, but they don't have the means to actually pay for that 4,000 Rand t-shirt, So is this a way that they can kind of get away with it without breaking the bank or getting themselves into a lot of debt just to please society?
I think the question answers itself. So if your goal is to please society, then you stop everything. It's just my view. Like, instead of, for example, again, coming back to, say, a polo shirt, instead of a polo shirt, a Mr. Price shirt,
We get a GTI shirt instead of polo shirt.
I thought you were gonna say like an Audi or something, BMW. But I mean, there's alternatives. There's knockoffs. Knockoffs are one universe category on their own, and then there's alternatives. I feel like if we explore alternatives better, here's the thing about knockoffs, right? For example, you'll notice that you can notice when someone's wearing a knockoff, firstly, because the cuts are all wrong, the sizes, the seams, whatever. Things just don't look right. And then if you find a cheaper alternative that's built to its purpose, it'll fit better or look better than a cheap knockoff of something that's supposedly expensive. You get me? So if you buy a golfer, for example, that's manufactured here locally, or a cheaper import, it's its own brand. Let's say a Mr. Price golfer, right? It'll fit good, it'll look good and all of that. And then you buy a knockoff gas golfer, right? Similar price than the cheaper alternative. But the fits will be wrong, the threads will be too hard, the collar won't be, sort of starched correctly or whatever it is. I feel like it's defeating the purpose of what you literally then just paying for the logo, sometimes with the knockoff spelling kind of thing. I don't know. It's just my take on it is...
The originals would last a lot longer as well.
Yeah, originals and alternates. That's the thing, because on the original, it's good quality. It's obviously, there's a hype for a reason behind these things. It's either trendy because of design, or it's because of the materials that are used that are quite, expensive, especially when it comes to things like watches and jewelry and accessories and all of that. Obviously, the materials play a very, very important role in the price point that it fetches at times. Whereas with alternatives will still give you good quality. The knockoffs, however, not necessarily. People, I think, manufacturers of the knockoffs have understood that, listen, we don't have to put quality in this. We are selling the name here, right? The fake name that everybody's chasing after. We don't have to put decent quality behind this particular item. We just have to make sure that name is there and people will buy it. And that's what they've created. They've maximized their profit margins because there's not an ounce of goodness in a lot of the knockoffs that are going through. And some have realized that now there's a new market because the knockoffs are really knocked off. There's a category called, I think, A-grade knockoffs. So there's tiers to the knockoffing, and you'll pay a little bit more depending on your tier of knockoffing. Knocking off. Knockoffness. Yeah. Yeah, knocking off's only leaving from somewhere. From what?
Yeah, I'm knocking off now. Tired.
I'm knockoffing.
Yeah, so we went from Temu to knockoffs, coming back to Temu. Do these type of companies, do they have like a beef? Like, do you say like a Shein and a Temu? Do they... Are they like Coke and Pepsi kind of vibes going on there? Do you think they have like martial arts standoffs? Like to see who's the bigger of the two suppliers?
I would pay to see that if they were. But I'm sure they would, because I mean, like even locally there's competition, with all brands. I mean, everybody wants feet through their door. Unless they're held by the same holding, there always will be that competition. I think that's healthy in business.
I don't know if you remember, Tufel, a couple of years back, there was this beef between Audi and Mercedes. And the adverts would actually have the competitors' vehicles in their adverts. Like, how did that slide? I don't understand. It's kind of like an ambush marketing, but not, advertising standards. Did they not find a problem with that type of thing?
So interestingly enough, I think it's in SA that competitive marketing, as you're referring to, is not allowed. at current. So there'll be stabs here and there, but no direct utilizing, company products, and patenting and copywriting has seen to make sure that all of these things are taken care of. In some other countries, I think till recently it was still allowed. So you would still see, especially with car manufacturers, there's a lot of rivalry. In fact, I think most of the German manufacturers, even though some of them belong to the same holding, but the brands all need to develop their own style or their own competition and edge above the others so that they can drive sales, obviously. So yeah, that's how they actually got it right. There's some famous ones of Audi where all the keychains hang up together and to form the four rings kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still it used to happen. I'm not sure about other countries. I would need to actually research that. But I know that South Africa was like banned early on. But there are some companies that take their jabs here and there. I think that goes under the radar. And as long as it's a jab that's reasonably vague, even though it's dead obvious, but it's all on paper. If you can on paper prove that it's vague, you can get away with it. But you can't use, unfortunately, the name or regalia or the actual products to compete in marketing.
I thought just came across my mind at this very moment, Teveel. A few years back, I think Alibaba, the founder, was like missing, or he was kidnapped or something. Do you remember that? And what happened to him? Did they find him? Did he come out and make an official statement, or did he just carry on like normal when he was returned, per se?
I'm not too sure about that one.
Have you purchased something from Temu? Did it arrive? How was the quality of the product? Were you happy with it? Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how people's experience also has been. Like, if the wrong thing comes, they're sending it back a whole mission if it doesn't work. That's my problem with online stores, I think, in general. Like, I think there's a part of me that wants control over the purchase.
The feeling, like you said, to understand the product is the way you see it, because it might be wonderfully presented, in the advert, and then it comes through and you're like, what?
Yeah. I need to know, does it suit my purpose? Will it fit in the space that I want it to sort of fit in? How accessible is it? And then if anything goes wrong with it, I want to know that I can drive to point A and drop it off there and let them sort it out, instead of waiting for someone to collect it and then deal with emails and speak someone on the phone in a language that neither of us understand. I think those are my fears with online shopping. I don't know. I like the control of this guy at the store. Call him, sort the things out, and it's there. It's a physical interaction that happens.
There was an issue at the Durban Harbour where they were waiting for your cargo and stuff to come through. Was a wait of up to 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes up to 6 weeks. This probably would affect your online shopping, I'm guessing, because would it come via freight or by air? What would be the means that these type of things come
I think
through?
most of the cheaper ones are going to come by sea. So you will have issues at the harbor. If you purchase anything from overseas and you get like private couriers like DHL and whoever else to sort it out for you, then they can fly it in for you. But obviously you're paying a lot more for those deliveries. So if it's high valued stuff, some years ago there was some equipment that I got through the US and it had to come by plane because I didn't want to leave it firstly on a boat for too long, and then there was a bit of urgency in which it was required. But it landed here within 3 days.
Okay,
3 or 4 days from the US.
That's a good turnaround time.
Yeah, as opposed to, but for something like that, if it's urgent and it's necessary, and also if the equipment or whatever you're ordering or buying is of a higher value, so you don't mind spending on the shipping process to just make it easier for you and not being held up at customs and the fear of it getting damaged because it's over inspected and all of that at all of these places, and you don't want to end up with a batch that goes through stuff that can go down wrongly there. You also don't want to make it pass too many hands. So from there, it's got to freight then across on a truck to somewhere, and from there on a van. And, it's exchanging hands. It's moving around. You don't know, even though the the fragile stickers are on there.
The guy could be in a hurry and it's just
Yeah. No, they're more of a suggestion, I think, to a lot of places, the fragile stickers. So you can, there is an option, but I don't know if Temu offers that. I haven't checked. I haven't done a lot of, I haven't looked into the mechanism, but generally I know with Shane, with Temu, with a lot of, I think Alibaba as well, a lot of their stuff comes through the ports first. And then a land courier will bring it to you. It'll freight to your closest city center, and then from there, it'll come on a bakkie with a guy that's quite reliable to your door.
So we've arrived at the end of this discussion.
Yeah, we're here to deliver you from whatever it is we're here to deliver you from.
Low down, dirty Shane.
Yeah, stay safe, purchase responsibly, and don't do drugs, I guess.
Very important message. Cut.